Hey guys, Michael Marshawn, your Ziggo licensed coach, back with you again. If you have not, don't forget to like this video and go ahead and subscribe because we got new content coming out every Friday. And today I want to dive back into my story a little bit. If you don't know anything about me, then you probably don't know, but I was sexually abused as a child. For a period of about 3 months when I was 10, maybe 11 years old. It's a little hard to recall the exact details of my age, but that's roughly what I can piece together. And I actually fell into the category of somebody that was sexually abused by a peer or another child, so somebody under 18. So I've gotten some comments and I've heard some things that people are saying that that is normal behavior for kids, just two boys experimenting. And I'm here to say categorically that that is incorrect. That is factually incorrect. It's straight fucked up and should never happen. But beyond that, I want to get into some actual facts because um, while that may not be a full blown thinking, there is obviously some level of that out there in society. And I want to do my part to help change and educate people of the truth. So this is the truth about childhood sexual abuse, and this is actually from the National Center of Sexual Exploitation. And by their estimates, about one third of all perpetrators are children under the age of 18. And that means that child on child sexual abuse is a difficult reality that does need to be addressed. And sadly, I don't think it is getting addressed at the level that it should. And just to see what normal is. So people have said that, me getting molested, me getting eventually raped is just two kids experimenting and that should be considered normal. Now, and again, I categorically do not agree with that. Having lived through that, I can tell you that it has fucked up my entire life. And for a period of over 23 years, I didn't even tell another human being. I lived with it and just carried it. I share all the details in my story if you want to click that link above there. But in terms of what's normal behavior, so the American Association of Pediatrics lists these four behaviors as normal for children below 5 years old. So showing their genitals to others, standing too close, trying to look at nude people, and masturbating. Now, those are considered normal for children 5 years and below. So above 5 years, would be considered abnormal behavior. But what I'm really here to focus on is the highly abnormal or the very disturbing behavior that can be exhibited in kids. And those would be things like putting mouth on genitals, asking self or others to engage in specific sex acts, imitating intercourse, inserting objects into the vagina or anus, touching animal genitals. Now, those are all behaviors for kids 6 years or older that are very, very disturbing and should not be considered normal, should not be justified or played down because they have huge harmful consequences to the people that those things are done with. Again, perpetrators, one third of all of them are under 18, and that's a whole category of people that society has kind of just dismissed and ignored. And then this statistic was very interesting as well. When it comes to concerning sexual behaviors in children, experts have found early adolescence between ages 12 and 14 are the peak of child offenders. So kids between 12 and 14 are the peak offenders. That means they're the ones actually molesting or harming in some way other kids. And this age range experiences a lot of changes as puberty begins. And if they have a skewed view of sex, they may perpetrate against a younger or smaller child. And of course, that was almost my situation to a T. The male that abused me was 3 or 4 years older. This happened when I was 10 or 11, which would have made him 13 or 14 years old, right in the middle of that category. And it was not an overnight process. There was a very intentional process of grooming that went on. And I cover that again in my video, my full length story there. But all that to say that it wasn't just experimental. It wasn't anything that was normal. It was an intentional thought out process. And I was intentionally victimized because I was a very sheltered child, because I was developmentally probably behind many of my peers at the age of 10, just because I was homeschooled and I had very limited social interaction. So all that to say that for a time I can understand where some people are coming from because I used the justification that it was normal as a coping mechanism when I first started having these thoughts that came into my head and these suppressed memories coming up. And for a fair period of time, that was how I coped with it. I just said it was normal. It was just two kids experimenting. Like, it wasn't a big deal. But the more it grew and the more it festered, the harder and harder it became to ignore that reality until I finally talked to somebody and realized that there was nothing normal about what had happened, that I was in fact sexually abused and that I was molested and raped, and that is something that I should never have had to experience, and that no kid should have to experience. So I would encourage you that if you have experienced anything, maybe you're not even sure because many of these cases and memories are deeply suppressed, like mine was, to the point where it is almost an unconscious thing. It's just buried so deeply in your subconscious that you never really consciously think about it. And I would encourage you that if you have flashbacks or memories or triggers or anything like that, that you go talk to somebody and start exploring what may or may not have happened to you, because there is nothing normal about childhood sexual abuse, even if it was by another peer. It is still abnormal, it is still dysfunctional, and it can still destroy the rest of your life. But there is hope, there is healing, and it is possible to come out the other side. And I am not fully out the other side, but I'm 4.5, almost 5 years into my journey of healing. And while I don't ever foresee myself having been completely past it, I do want to spread the message and I do want to share these statistics to bring more awareness to the fact that it is a major problem that is not being addressed. So, anyway, if I can do anything for anybody out there, offer a word of encouragement, I just want you to know that you are not alone. 1 in 6 males is abused before the time they're 18. There is a lot of us out there, and we are, unfortunately, as males, much less likely to come forward and share our story or say anything because of um, how society has structured things. So I would encourage you that if I can help, all my contact information is on the final slide. Don't hesitate to shoot me a text message, give me a call, send me an email, whatever it is. I would love to be a resource in any way that I can.